All right, boys, it is time to cap off the craziest trade deadline week ever. We're going to talk about some of the smaller stuff, but stuff that does still matter in this vid. We're going to go right to the Bucks. Khris Middleton, he's somewhere on the all-time Bucks list. They do not win the finals without him. This does matter for Bucks fans. And he was actually getting buckets recently on good efficiency. Now, he was also missing some games, and defensively and athleticism-wise, he's not going to be what he once was. Grizzlies game, he made a bunch of tough jumpers. Jazz game, there was some nice two-man game with Giannis. Jazz game cooking from mid-range a little more. Anyway, they have Kuzma now. Kuzma is bigger than Middleton, more athletic, younger. Kuzma also needs to prove that he can once again contribute to winning basketball on a good team and doing more role player-like things. I mean, he's going to be in the teens and points here. I mean, he's going to get shots created for him by Giannis and Dame. Could picture some Kuzma-Dame two-man actions, as in Kuzma screening for him pretty much. And I think the best version of Kuzma is when he shoots well enough on threes, which that's a question, man. I mean, he's at 28% from three this season. But also, he has been able to give, especially the Wizards there, he was able to give them some more downhill stuff in those best years. Not in the sense of, running a bunch of screen actions up top, but more so cutting, attacking off the catch, transition. And then defensively, well, yeah, they're going to need him to be good. And they also dealt their most recent pick, A.J. Johnson, where I think the second they made that pick, all the draft people were like, really? They're going to go with more of a development guy? Look, the draft is hard, but if you look around there, Ryan Dunn went about 5 spots after him, and that was definitely your help us out right now pick if you were going to make it. It's just tough. I mean, the Bucks, look, Giannis is going to hold this thing up for as long as he can because he's that good, but you think about just missing on picks, the DiVincenzo Ibaka trade, and yeah, Bucks fans, I know, DiVincenzo was not good when they made that deal. Ibaka just couldn't move when they got him. Stuff adds up, but you got Giannis. And now Middleton goes to the Wizards where, I mean, for their sake, you could give him more shooting. For his sake, Khris, good luck. Speaking of the Wizards, look, Washington fans, I got nothing against you, but you know what's going on. I like Alex Sarr. My boy Marcus Smart has also ended up with the Wizards. I got to take a minute on this one. The Grizzlies moved a pick in that whole thing, and LaRavia ended up with the Kings somehow. That's a nice get for the Kings. The Grizzlies moved 2 picks to get Marcus. They've moved another one while getting off of him. First off, with Middleton and Smart, if you are wondering, could there be a buyout coming? No, they both are under contract past this season, so they are going to be Wizards. The goal for these two is, number one, just hope that somebody wants you in the offseason. But to go with that, just play some good ball, man. Just showcase to the rest of the league that you can still have a place on a good team. If there is one thing I can wish for myself as a fan, besides another Celtics title, I want to see Marcus Smart contributing on a winning team again, man. Okay, I've taken long enough to get to this. Let's talk DeAndre Hunter, all right? So, Caris LeVert, and maybe the most second-round picks I've ever seen move in a deal. Niang is gone too. Look, Caris LeVert did a good job of going away from the guy who wanted to get buckets with the Nets and the Pacers to kind of the Swiss Army knife for the Cavs, more defense, more playmaking and all that. Still getting his shots up sometimes. To more of just a bucket getter with DeAndre Hunter, who has been given more of a specific role for the Hawks, which is score off the bench, even if he would still be playing more than Reese Shea a lot of the time. Gives him more size as well, which they've been asking for, big wing. I've heard that so much among Cavs fandom. And then also with Hunter, he's just been more decisive this season. It feels like more often now, either he's going up for a 3 or he's attacking off the catch or he's just keeping the ball moving. Now, you are losing playmaking. While his turnover percentage is not very high, he actually does have a negative assist to turnover thing, so you're getting a guy to take shots. But looking at their recent game against the Celtics, where, it was a bit of a defensive game, especially the first 7 minutes where neither team could score at all. That's the type of game where DeAndre Hunter could step in, make 4 or 5 threes, whatever. And, with the way the Hawks have used him, it's been a little bit of him screening for Trey, a little bit of him getting some off-ball screens, definitely him just initiating things in the flow of the offense as well, but we'll see just how the Cavs make it work for him, and we'll see if they can replicate the sort of feeling that Hunter has with the Hawks right now, where he knows his role and the expectation for the amount of shots he's going to take and all that. We'll see there. As far as Atlanta, typically when you move the guy who's having the career season for you as your season is going in a certain direction here, and you trade him to one of the best teams in the league, it usually feels like you're going to get a first for that. Instead, they got 3 second-round picks and 2 swaps, also second-round picks. This would definitely look better if they got that Cavs 2031 pick. Yeah, it kind of feels like if you want to sell me on this is perhaps the highest value that Hunter's going to get for Atlanta, where, look, between injuries and just taking a while to get to this level, it's not shocking to me that Atlanta might feel that way with Hunter, but from a pick standpoint, it doesn't feel like they got the best they could have gotten for him. And then as far as LeVert coming here, who's on an expiring, and Niang, who doesn't have much time left, it certainly gives them some flexibility with their money moving forward and what they want to do there, but yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm kind of caught up on the picks. Speaking of Atlanta, Bogey also went somewhere. He's going to the Clippers. And also, I think the Hawks traded like 3 second-rounders in this for Terrence Mann and Bones Island. I don't really know why they're moving 3 seconds, and I imagine those seconds might also be interacting with the 5 they just got from Cleveland, but they're moving 3 seconds. T-Man does have a place in Clippers history. We all remember those corner threes against the Jazz, which sparked some of the craziest Rudy Gobert conversations of all time. And by the way, T-Man still plays for them, but Bones doesn't play much for the Clippers. Bogey's contract ends much earlier than Terrence Mann's does because Bogey has a team option in the last year. Now, as far as this season for Bogey, I mean, he has not been as good. Like, all the shooting, everything is down, and I mean, he's at 30% from 3. Like, the given with him his whole career is that he's been, like, a really good shooter, right? So we'll see there. He's had personal stuff that has left him out of some games here recently. I don't know. I mean, for the Clippers, the contracts and the second-round picks are important to this deal, but also they are hoping, I imagine, that Bogey can make some shots for him. I am still kind of wondering how they got 3 second-round picks in this deal, but okay. But to go back to the Hawks, so they're gaining some financial flexibility moving forward by going from Hunter to Niang and LeVert, but Mann is under contract for a few more seasons, which suggests maybe Atlanta just likes Terrence Mann because they're taking on his money now. Now let's go to the other trade that Dallas has made this week, where Nico Harrison once again traded a younger, better player for a worse, older one. Not that Caleb Martin's bad, but Quinn Grimes is better than Caleb Martin. And Daryl Morey got a second-round pick out of Nico as well. So I think the reason Dallas did this is because they're probably not going to be able to re-sign Grimes this offseason, and so they're getting Caleb Martin, who's under contract for a few years, and it's like a guarantee of a role player, even if Grimes is still better. Perhaps getting Christie also, in their eyes, made Grimes more expendable. Whatever, I don't feel like talking about Dallas anymore. And then for the Sixers, hey, I like Quentin Grimes. As far as 3-and-D, as well as some juice attacking off the catch as well, I think at some point Grimes and Philly could be the team if their act gets together here, which might be this season, might not be. Embiid looked good in the game he came back in recently, but then he missed the next game, and then PG was awful against Miami. But yeah, I believe at some point Quentin Grimes is going to end up on a good team, and he's going to find a real role. And hell, it was happening in Dallas, by the way, but again, they did some things this week. Also, very happy to have Celtics killer Caleb Martin out of the Eastern Conference. The Kings got Valanciunas. What does this mean for Alex Len's legacy? Okay, let's talk about some stuff that did not happen. And we're going to start with the Suns because are we sure the vibes are going to be good here? I mean, in the last week or so, it was Jimmy tries to force his way to Phoenix. Beal will not waive the no-trade clause. Even then, I don't really know if anybody wanted Beal, but that's how it would have had to happen. And so then we had a very strange, maybe like 16 to 24 hours where there were a lot of Kevin Durant rumors swirling around, and then that went nowhere. And in the meantime, they actually did make a move. They moved some pick that they had, probably one from the, trading their 2031 for the not as good picks, where Nurkic is now going to be Cody Martin, who is solid, and Micic, who I'm not expecting to do much on the Suns. But yeah, are we sure about the vibes in Phoenix after this whole ordeal where not much happened, but as far as reporting went, a lot happened? Let's go to the Bulls. Vooch is still here. They've got 1 million guards. We like the Lonzo contract, but I mean, it's Kobe, Giddey, Lonzo, Io. Javon Carter still gets minutes too. Buzelis is probably the one unifying positive force among Bulls fans right now. Yeah, I just think what happened here, man, is the Warriors were going to be the one team, and then they got Jimmy, and so that just took Vooch out of the running. And what really sucks for the Bulls is that he's got next year left on his contract, and again, the shooting was back. And so if with all that, Vooch's market was still not really there, then that's tough. Next, let's go to the Nets. No Claxton trade, which I was not as high on that one happening, but some people thought it might have happened, and hey, if the Lakers didn't go wild for Mark Williams, maybe they would have done it for Nick Claxton. No Cam Johnson trade, though. That one's surprising. And it did feel like, just because of Cam Johnson's shooting and movement off the ball and everything, it felt like anybody could have went for him, really. But again, if you're asking for picks, then assume that the better teams would want him. Now, I don't think it's a complete missed opportunity, because even after this season, he still has 2 years left in his deal, and the shooting's still going to be there, the movement's still going to be there. I do wonder if teams have a fear of like, well, we saw him on the Suns where he was good, but he was more of like a 13, 14 a game guy. He's not going to be a nearly 20 a game guy on a team with, more dudes taking shots, right? We'll see there. I mean, one team I did picture for him kind of was the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies also just have so many guys. I mean, they just put LaRavia in a deal, and they're still deep as hell. No Jazz deals as well. Clarkson, Sexton, and Collins all still here. I do think in the right setting, Collins Sexton can be a difference maker for a team. When I'm thinking about teams that just didn't do anything this trade deadline, I mean, this is another team I think about for Cam Johnson. The Magic are desperate for shooting. Sure, I've been doing the whole, well, they're not healthy thing for a minute. Well, look, in their last 10 games, they have the worst offense in the league, even a little worse than the Wizards, mind you. Okay, that's a lie. They have the 29th offense in the last 10 games. When I checked this a couple days ago, it was worse than the Wizards. So congrats, you got by the Wizards. And I think that I overrated how good they would be with Paolo and Franz back. Now, Paolo has had some rough games recently here, but throughout this 10-game stretch, he's played all the games. Franz has played most of them. Sure, Suggs has been out, but I just think they need help on offense. They need more shooting. And I get it, guys are expensive, and you got to have tough conversations about future assets and everything. Then obviously you're not going to dip into your core in this team, but it's like there were guys who could shoot available, man. I mean, whether it's Cam Johnson, Levine, of course, is in Sacramento, so that was never going to happen. The Magic need to be willing to take on a guy who, up to this point, has not fit the exact type of guy you're looking for. Like, you can go all in on size and physicality and defense, and we all love that stuff, but you need shooting. Anyway, that's enough on the Magic. I will say they did put up 130 on the Kings, so I don't know. Maybe they're turning the corner. The Dennis Schroeder Bizarro season has ended up with him in the Pistons now. Okay, fine. Picture your Schroeder, Jalen Duren pick and rolls. Another ball handler as we see when Ivy can come back. I think the Pistons are another team where I imagined, would they actually get a little aggressive? Because they've got, some shorter contracts here. And the one guy Pistons fans wanted the most, it seemed, was CJ. But while Brandon Ingram is gone, I don't think the Pelicans want to punt on this whole thing. And obviously they didn't trade Zion, which, yeah, that's the right move. You just have to keep betting on him. He's been doing his thing lately. They're not winning, but he's been doing his thing. Him and Trey Murphy. That may be all I've got, man. What a crazy week. We have gotten some debuts recently. We got Fox and the Spurs. He was cooking, especially there was a second quarter stretch where he kept on making a bunch of mid-range jump shots as Wemby was not in the game. They started Fox and Chris Paul together. Some Sohan screening for De'Aaron Fox as well. We got that. I think Wemby and Fox only scratched the surface of what they can be in the first game, but also Wemby is sick right now. And then we got Levine's debut with the Kings, which I actually haven't seen that game yet. I know he didn't shoot well from the field, but I don't know what actually happened. So yeah, man, crazy week. Before we go back to regularly scheduled programming, although pretty soon for me, you'll be seeing the Luka Doncic trade so far vid and the Jimmy Butler trade so far vid, the Fox trade, you get it. We'll do all that stuff. That's about it, man. Crazy week. You guys catch the Grammys at all? It was pretty good. A lot of really good performances. Most of the winners made sense. Shout out Chappell, Kendrick, and Doechii, my 3 favorite people of the night.